So this is stuff I like to do is before I jump into like making the image or like painting, like making big commitments. I just try. Like this was, I think, the first one here. So this was A, B, and this was C. And what I always would advise, if you do stuff where you jump into 3D, always do sketches before, because otherwise you would just try to do something and maybe the idea will never get sparked so much. So what I can already do for this, I can start to look for some good references. So what you can do, you can basically take any texture, and I'm really experimenting with this at the moment, but you can technically take every texture or any texture you want, and it gets projected on a geometry. So you don't have to unwrap all the geometry. Like, it takes so much time to get all stuff in. And for quick ideation, concepting and stuff, it's awesome if you paint over the stuff anyways. Stuff here, for example, is some mushroom membrane, which looked really nice when I mapped it in here. And the rest I wanted to be some lighter wood, like bamboo. So here I basically just photo bashed super quick a little bit of stuff inside. How I imagined the final thing could look. Like where's what, the typical planet in the back and everything. So what we can definitely try is to think about the value structure already, even though if we're not painted or into painting it, but we can think like, what can we hide? You know, while looking at the other reference here, like thinking about, okay, what can we actually hide and not show? It's also something you see a lot in production. Like, they hide a lot of stuff to save time, which makes sense. So I definitely want to have these flying fishes here. So one of these towers should be definitely already be up. Like we designed this, and then there should be nets everywhere. So we communicating, okay, they are fishing right now. Right, so there's these flying fishes and they're trying to catch these. So this is stuff I like to do is before I jump into like making the image or like painting, like making big commitments. I just try everything, every thought I have, because right now I'm not under any production pressure or anything, so I don't need to make a decision fast. And I actually want to just to make a really nice image. That's my only goal. And I'm just thinking like, if I still have the 3D stage open, so this was the last render here, and there's way more things I can technically add. Also, now that we did the closed tower, now we could think that, yeah, like what can we actually add in the 3D, which makes our life easy at the end, because we don't want to paint everything. So I would always recommend, if you are unsure about stuff, just try it. Don't commit too quick. Then let's think about, okay, what can we add to make it more Star Wars looky? It's the 3D grid from from Blender. But we can already think like, okay, what can we have here? So if this is like, I imagine this stone stuff is like old ruins. Then we have some sort of like gigantic trees maybe. And like, yeah, like I said, they're on a planet where the things they eat, they are flying, so to speak. Right, so it's also something I teach my mentees when they do their first project and they have no clue to start. We always start with a problem. So you try to create a problem to solve it with your design, which is a hard process to learn, but it's not impossible, and it's actually the best because it gives you tons of ideas to design. Giant swarm trees or something, because I'm also don't want to mess up, like I want to benefit my composition, of course, so really important that I make sure that This is helping to communicate what I want to communicate. This looks not too bad. I like this kind of bluish thing here. So let's save this. Oh, interesting with the red. Any one of you is a Star Wars nerd and has an idea, what can I add to make this more Star Wars looky? Something else. Let's use this cloud brush as a mixer brush. Let's use this texture here. More like this. Now let's paint it. So you can see we can hide a lot of stuff with this. So we basically hide everything in the background. So I need to say I like the thing with the dense forest, with the dense swamp way more than the stuff with the planet. Oh, this was already worth it to try, and also the happy accident we had with matching these trees with the color of the render also gives us these nice trees with this red color intro. Really cool here. So what we could do, we could, for example, save also this texture here of the tree and then project it back into 3D. And save us a bit of time, but we can also, on the other hand, do this in 2D. This is always our choice and how we want to do this, right? So then here will be some sort of cast shadow. This will be casted, casted, casted. Then we will probably have some sort of warm light in here. So this is the raw render here. We have version A or version B, and I prefer version B much more. So we mark this as our star. This is our decision here. And you see this took us, I don't know, 20 minutes maybe to do 2 variations of this for later. Now let's take a look at the render from the tower we just did. So this was the thumbnail. Also stuff we maybe need to take care of, right? So for example, what I want to do is I want to add fishing nets in here. So rough interpretation, but we want to showcase that they basically close these towers when the fishing are coming. Vertical fishing tower on a planet where they fish basically from the atmosphere. So they fishing their creatures or fishes in the air, and they try to attract these, and then they so to speak catch them here, and then when they got caught, like so that this is understandable, and that's why we need this also, that someone else can understand our concept. Like, so fish get caught. What they try to do is basically I try to catch these fishes in here with these membranes, and there's a light, and then they put everything which they catch in here, and it goes down this tube and comes out here. And then here's the place where they lay all the fishes and take them apart, what they need for eating. This is the scene I already set up. Is it good from a production perspective to always make scenes like this with the prop in action? Depends on what you want and what you need. If there is something that you need which has some sort of action, like the towers for example, like I made this on purpose because I wanted to not only have some towers, but I wanted to showcase how is the tower working, to just give the concept an extra layer of interest, you know? I just don't want to make like a tower which has like, I don't know, which is a water tower. I want to have a second purpose or some sort of function to make it interesting. Also, it helps me to get more ideas for my concept. We are basically just screenshotted these renders in viewport. So we have a raw render, then we took the screenshot, and then we just started to sketch over and add stuff to think about, okay, what can we add to improve the image, or what can we add to make the image interesting? Now we're at the point where we need to make sure, okay, that the design and the purpose of the tower is actually makes sense, or it is working as we wanted it. So we render out a version where, like a rough version, where we can showcase, okay, this is how this is actually working. Like, this is what is happening on the planet. I always get the question that it's hard for me to make my own art. It's hard for me to do, like, to have time to do stuff. I can totally imagine this. Me, myself, working full-time 40 hours a week, and also being a teacher and a private mentor and doing YouTube and all that. I have a full schedule, but there's always a time gap if you really want to make art. Just try to find a small time frame for yourself where you have the most things you can do, or the most time frame where you can relax and really work on stuff. I just talked with one of my mentees yesterday about this. Like, I did so many shitty jobs in my life, and when I found art, I found art for myself, and I knew all I wanted to do is art. And everywhere I worked, I was always drawing and painting in between. And I was just waiting for work to finish, that I can eventually, continue to create. Time window, and if it's an hour or like 30 minutes, you can make it work. And eventually you can find your way to maybe become a professional. So now that we wait for the render, we can already just sketch this in here. So this is how it's open. Then I imagine, like, okay, maybe they have this, these are connected here, and they basically pull them together when the fish is incoming. And the only reason why they fish when it's dawn is because of the perfect light condition that they attract these fishes. And the only thing I need to do now is really just like paint these out, like paint everything in information wise, communicate this to my viewer, to my audience, what is my idea. And then I also have this scene, right? So if I make this scene, I can also go into the scene, and I could technically render out just this part here, and then I can scale it up, and like technically I could also add, like, I don't know, dead fishes, or I can add a table where they cut fishes, or like everything, like whatever I want. Everything that communicates scale, like people standing here and then talking, trading fishes. I could paint this whole thing here, like how the fish comes through these things from above. Then I can also do the same for this, so I can go into 3D again, scale this up, take a different angle, and then also explain how is this working. Like there is this light source in here, and then the fishes are coming or whatever, and then this goes up, and I can show a mechanism, etc., etc. So if you work on your concepts, really think about like how deep can you make your concepts, how far elaborate can you work on the stuff, and don't be shy to try out stuff. Really, I see it so often that my students, they do a piece and they think, or they have this expectation on themselves that they should do everything they do is right away good, but this is never the case. You should always expect that what you do is actually just good to 40%, 50%, and then you want to add another 10 on top, another 10 on top, and this is a very organic process. The rarest case is I do something and it works right away, because it has really to do with experience, idea, and that the things you have in mind interlocked into themselves. That's true. I guess the main problem is that people are not yet on the point of having an exciting project to keep on going. A project doesn't need to be exciting. Exciting should be what you potentially can learn. Like, of course, the project needs to be exciting, but excitement will go away. What you need to do is you need to be super disciplined, and you need to make a plan to say, I work on this for 1 week. I try to get everything out as much as possible in 1 week, because 1 out of 10 can really work really long on one little thing. I don't want to work on this furthermore. And I have the same. I just start like 10 different projects at the same time. But I did this so often, and I failed so often, that I learned, okay, if I do this, I take the best out of these 10, and then I just finish this. It also has to do really with your expectation management. If there's any more questions to this topic, also don't hesitate to hit me up on Instagram. And if you want to learn directly from me, so getting homework by me, getting overpaintings by me, and want me to help you and develop your portfolio maybe, or your art career, don't hesitate to check out my website, janusz-art.zone, to apply for the mentorship and maybe come into the mentorship. Thanks everyone for joining. Ciao.